Hello, this is Roland. Welcome. Today, just some random thoughts about spiritual life, which is what you need to find. You need to find the spiritual life, because Christ said that. What did he say in the beautiful Sermon on the Mount? He said, "Life is more than just eating and drinking," and so it is. We all know that. You know that deep in your being. But to really find the real thing is what you need to do. Now, it's okay not to have found it, or to admit that you may not have found it, or to admit that you haven't found it. That's okay. Because you see, we're born first of the earth, and we're later of the spirit. Yes, we are a soul and a body. We're part spiritual and part matter, part heavenly and part earthly. But we're born as little children, as little egos, as little ego animals, and we have to grow. So we run and play and skip and discover God's great green earth. And it's a wonderful thing to be a child and to discover all the wonderful things that God made. Butterflies and rocks and pebbles and trees to climb and lots of wonderful things. And puppies and cats and brother and sister and mommy and music and all the wonderful things. It's perfectly normal. That's natural, and that's all you need. God doesn't require more of you as a child. But then we become adults, and then at a certain point, when you've tasted of the earth, and you've done a lot, you've experienced a lot, some good, some bad. Maybe you started a family, you've worked, you have children, okay, and you've read and you've traveled and you've done, all the stuff, whatever it is that you've done. Hiking or bicycle riding or working on automobiles or cooking, whatever you've done, reading, studying, whatever, then something else is needed, something more is needed. Now, you would think that it would be natural. Some people naturally have found it. People like the ancient patriarchs. People like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then of course David, and people like Elijah and Isaiah and Jeremiah, such people, and Ruth, and Sarah, okay, and all through history there have been people who have found, they naturally found this life. And there are many people around the world today, you wouldn't even know them. They found it. And they live it. In other words, it's like what was it said of, who was it that it was said that he walked with God? See? And another was said to be a friend of God. I think it was Noah. Was a friend of God. Well, you see? So then you have the best of both worlds. You walk by the light of two suns. You have the best of both. Now, I think some people, they find it naturally. But for most people, after a lot of experience in the world, it doesn't come naturally because we've become corrupt. See, by having reacted and overreacted to all the things that happened to you, you gradually became totally conditioned to, totally a product of the earth and of other people and of all the forces that bind you. See, group dynamics and family, everything, psychology, psychological forces and stresses and obligations. See, you became bound by those, didn't you? And then, of course, doubts and fears. Doubts bind you. Fears bind you. Things that you want too much begin to bind you. And then things that you have misused, then you will become addicted to them, and you become dependent on them. Others' approval, for example. When others withdraw their approval, we're stricken, which proves that yourself has become dependent on their love, on their approval. And it's not even love that they give you. So, to then find this spiritual life of which I speak, there has to be a new attachment. Okay, an attachment of love to another order, the heavenly order, God's order. And then, then you continue to live on this earth, but now attached with a rapport with this other order of truth and of love. And the one that's what you fell away from or never found. Although as a little tiny child, you knew love existed. But we fell away from it. Now I talked about how we become bound by obligations. See, not that family is wrong and work is wrong and having a place of employment is wrong, or that liking your house or the place you live, not that any of that is wrong, or that having a car or an iPhone or